Here we go. Game 1. Let's try knight f3. All right. Let's try something a little bit more calm. I was gonna run with what? I was gonna just go with the King's Indian attack, but I don't know if I'm really a fan of it if there's already a pawn on d5. Takes, I guess, a little bit more work to get that in. But okay. All right, so I'm gonna pin 4 right now, and I'll either consider breaking the pin or just pinning this knight. I might want to consider pinning this knight. I'm used to seeing e6 and bishop to d6 right away. I don't think it really matters. Let's see. h3, c4, bishop e2, bishop b5 are my 4 candidate moves here. Just kind of rough thoughts. I don't think this is a pin that I have to be too concerned about right now. So, who cares? Not going to go with that. One thing, actually, now with my pawn on c4, if I play bishop e2, the bishop can take my knight, and if I recapture, then there's pawn takes. But, okay, I could probably just get it back, but something to be aware of. My bishop is kind of, in some sense, overloaded as soon as I develop it to e2, for as long as this tension remains between the c and d pawns. I'm not afraid of that, though, just yet, because it's still on its home square. Bishop takes, I just take with my queen, and then there's just a clear view still of that c4 square. Now, if bishop d6, which is what I'm anticipating, I'm just going to back up, and if takes, capture towards the center, so I have a good reason not to. I don't know if there's a big advantage in maintaining this tension. I don't know if I would really... Okay, this is a possibility, but I don't know how realistic it is to play c5 and release the pressure on d5. Playing c5, eventually black will be trying to get in e5. Does black have enough to get this in right now? Maybe I should finally just capture here and then play bishop e2, breaking the pin. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to look to try and maybe put pressure on this c7 pawn. This is a half-open c-file. Soon enough, my rook will play here. And apparently black is considering knight takes or bishop takes bishop at this point. Take with the knight, then there's a 2-to-1 majority in the center. I don't know if that's really something I could put to good use. Okay, and I don't know that I'm really afraid of knight takes knight. That's just going to reinforce my center. I think now's the time, since my opponent is the side that already has the king castled, I better get castled soon. So now I'm at least one step away. Rook a to c1, castle. Those are ensuing moves. I might as well pre-move that one. I have a slight edge on the clock, which is rare. And one reason to maybe not... Okay, now this is a spot I was going to go to anyhow. Let me try and finish that thought. What was I going to say? Oh, if bishop d3 and knight takes, pawn takes, this e5 move has maybe the potential to land a fork if my bishop is on d3. So this e5 advance, I don't have to worry about it getting to e4 with the fork. If my bishop was on d3, I would. It's just castle. So a single move away from being fully developed, which is to say just moving my queen so that my rooks direct connection with one another. So what is going to be happening with this knight? It's now unpinned. Bishop here. If the bishop was on f5, my rook, I think, ends up getting trapped. Beware of that. Those bishops can really cover all these squares from the rook. I've had that happen before. Okay, my rook did his job. It was just a temporary watch over c3, and now it's time to reposition. I'll often get the comment, I don't know what to do, like, out of the opening, like as far as plans. Well, that move was a bit... It's not really an in-depth plan, but it's just kind of like a repositioning thing. So that's what you will often find out of the gates, out of the opening. Your pieces become out of position, so It's not a sophisticated plan. It's just being able to answer how can I improve the position of one of my pieces. Okay, so what to do? I don't want to do this because bishop takes. I don't want to capture. It would open the f-file, but I don't want to weaken e3. Okay, this seems good. Get my queen out. She has some potential lateral movements. In fact, I should have maybe gone with this a little bit sooner. Okay, I should have been in pre-move with this. I have the bishop pair right now, okay, but these guys are going to come off. And still, if the dark square bishops come off, I'm well situated such that my pawns are on dark squares and my remaining bishop is around on the light squares. So I have a good coverage in the center. And now my queen is maybe tactically vulnerable. Like if there's a capture on this square and then the queen is protected. It seems like I could just smash things open here. Maybe I want to put a question on this bishop. I don't know. Maybe I want to just actually go with something like doubling on the b file. I think that could be pretty good. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Less than 2 minutes. We're both under 2 minutes. And whoa, wait a second. Now I could just grab this pawn. That was a slip. And I believe the position's going to be crumbling very soon now. I think the knight. Well, yeah, this is very, very difficult. Very difficult. Okay, so now my queen is hit. Knight takes bishop, probably. Okay. And I could take this bishop and then win this pawn, but to be honest, I don't think there's any rush whatsoever. I think one of these will end up falling by force. I really just don't want to allow either one of these rooks to get any activity. So assuming nothing serious is being thrown my way, no forceful moves by black, I'm just going to improve my king position. Again, I could have taken this bishop, but I'm not too concerned about it. I could... Well, maybe I want to do it now, actually. You notice my train of thought changed quickly as soon as I saw this f-pawn push, because I'm seeing now that this 7th rank is a bit more exposed, and now the bishop takes, rook takes pawn. Not only am I netting another pawn, but I may have very well wanted to just go here, even if there wasn't a pawn there, just so I could double. 2 pigs. And there's not really going to be a defense. You can't challenge it. I guess throw the king in the corner and throw rook on g8, but that's very, very passive, and now these pawns are going to be gobbled up. There's only one other file that can maybe be opened, but these rooks have just no play. They're just only able to function, wow, along ranks. Okay, so I'm going to play here because I want to take with the check. And then the king has to play here. And what's the cleanest approach? Actually, there's... Well, I'm going to take another pawn. I'm on this. I think actually I would have liked to just come over here. I don't want really any of the rooks to get active. But I think we're going to have more of a time issue than anything. Okay. These are just dropping now. And I could just go after all of them, really. This is the last guy. Get rid of him and there's just nothing. Nothing doing. And just go to squares that are protected. King is cut off. And just march. Right? No time. Resignation. Okay. Good game, Shadow King. Let's go back. Flip the board, and let's see. My first thought is really already at this point with the knight c6 move to obstruct the c pawn and queen pawn openings. I always tend to question that unless you go in for a gambit, such as the white side that might play the black Redeemer. where you have knight c3 and then you do e4 with f3. But not the case here. There's not really a gambit for black that I'm seeing. Although maybe there's something with like f6 and really trying to get in e5. Because that is like the only pawn break, really. Without your c pawn to maybe challenge my d pawn with, c5, then it's e5 is the only other pawn break that white really has to be aware of. So I just don't know. I mean, it's not losing or anything, but I don't know. Anyhow, those are my thoughts. Like, I see this as a potential target. It didn't turn out to be the case in the game, but it just became very, very difficult to deal with the pressure that I had on the queen side. So what might be better then? What am I getting at here? I guess probably just throw out the king knight, see what I do next, and then maybe you could get your bishop out. Just retain his options even. Sometimes he might want to play to d7, or maybe you want to play for c5, knight c6. Those go hand in hand, just like you would see just with fianchettoing your bishop. You push up your pawn and then you put the bishop, or you push up a pawn, you put the bishop in its place. Similarly, you might want to go with c5 and then throw the knight on c6 with the idea to put pressure on d4. But now there's a problem. Maybe the other one is just to recapture with the pawn, but even so, my queen coming out to b3, this is difficult. This pawn being backward. Another thing, you might want to just have your pawn up to c6 to reinforce your center. If you capture with your pawn, and you could get a pawn to c6. So everything is really, as you could probably tell, I'm just kind of fixated on this idea of not obstructing that c pawn. And this is, I don't know that I gave you many options here. There's a lot of pressure that I'm placing on you. I do well to just keep this tension right here. If you capture me, I'm happy to recapture. I just see it. In my eyes, I'm just seeing it more long term, not as a weakness. Just double pawns, not necessarily a weakness at all. More of just long term flight square. But we're beyond the point of recovery, really. Even if you didn't drop the pawn, I think it's very, very difficult. And I guess I'm just not so sure about giving up the bishop pair, but I think it's still quite difficult because of what? I have a very clear plan at this point of just doubling on the b file and just kind of on the defensive, and it's very, very easy to go wrong. Okay. Good game, Shadows King.